What's poppin', everybody? So today for this video, I'm going to be talking about 10 of my guilty pleasure rap songs, and if you don't know what I mean by that, it's basically just songs that I know aren't the best really, but I still find enjoyment in them, or they're just made by heavily disliked artists. So I think other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory, so let's jump into it. I never really understood the criticism that this song got, I mean, obviously making a song about loving someone so much that you just want to sit there and help them with laundry isn't the most interesting topic, and the infamous almond line milk doesn't really help either. But when you get down to the actual sound of the song, I think it sounds great. The beat has this super catchy bass line and guitar riff, and it's just a great jazz rap instrumental in general. I also really dig the hook, which is complemented really well by the background harmonies. And overall, it's definitely not like an all-time great J. Cole song, but I just don't really think it got the hate it deserved. Well, it's not really necessarily hate, but there were a lot of people clowning it when For Your Eyes Only dropped. The verses are a little lackluster, but other than that, there's really not anything wrong with the song unless you're just against J. Cole rapping about love in this way. But honestly, I don't really care, if he wants to rap about watching Netflix and folding clothes with his wife, just let him, it's something that most couples do anyway. Yeah. I could have put any of the Lil Pump songs I like on this list, but Boss is just my favorite. Lil Pump in general is just one of my favorite guilty pleasure artists. I know the dude sucks at rapping, but the music is super fun and the production is usually great, so I tune into him. But what I love about Boss is the super hard-hitting beat that can get anyone hype, and I actually like his delivery on it, unlike most people. This was at a point in his career where he was still kind of mumbling, although I could definitely understand him. And that kind of delivery was all over his older music, and it just adds to the, what I call, I don't give a f*** energy that can be felt when listening to Boss and a lot of his music in general. The song isn't really anything special, but by Lil Pump standards, it's pretty great, and it's perfect to put on when you just want to get, hype and arrogant for a couple minutes.
These niggas said it hurt me, I ain't heard you. Get the fuck up on my fucking
Good old 6ix9ine. He's been in so much controversy that whatever can be said about him has been said, so I'm not really gonna get into that, but because of that and the fact that there's so many people out there that don't like him, I'm sure why you can see that Billy is a guilty pleasure of mine. Rap purists just straight up hate the guy, and with me being a hip hop YouTuber, I kind of get more flack than the average person for liking bad songs or bad rappers. But I've always stuck by my opinion, which is why I'm making this video, and also just because I thought it was a good idea. But back to Billy. I'm not usually a fan of songs that are only about violence and girls, but Billy just has this infectious energy that I can't deny. It's just a great song to put on when you're working out, and I think it has a lot more replay value than most 6ix9ine songs.
Guess I'm finally right here. Guess there's no turning back.
Russ is probably the most hated rapper of this era, and because of that, if you admit that you like him or a handful of his songs, people will start to question your music taste or even start giving you hate. But I'm just gonna say it. He has a handful of songs that are genuinely great, No Turning Back being one of them. Russ creates a super catchy track with this one, and the melody he uses in his verses is actually one of the catchiest things I personally heard in 2017. Like, I had it stuck in my head for I don't know how long. What also makes it a dope track to me is that we don't see pretentious Russ on here like in a lot of his other tracks, so it automatically gets a huge boost. He's still bragging a little bit on it, but it's not to the extremes that we've seen in other songs where he basically thought he was a musical genius just because he does everything by himself. So with Riff Raff being the living meme that he is, you kind of get weird looks or questions when you unironically support him or listen to some of his music, but I can't help it. Wetter Than Tsunami is an absolute banger. It has one of the catchiest and most well-used samples I've ever heard. Like, it's like if Alvin and the Chipmunks were beatboxing, but that somehow gets flipped into an incredible beat. I don't know how the producer pulled it off, but it sounds great. You also get some extremely odd lyrics that half the time don't even really make sense. But because of that, it just creates a really unique and entertaining rap song.
It was an ordinary day.
So it's kind of the trend to be hating on Logic nowadays. He's one of the biggest punching bags in rap, and a large part of that is due to him it just seems like he stopped trying, honestly. A majority of the songs on his most recent albums I haven't really been a fan of, but Ordinary Day is one of the best songs he's dropped in a long time. It has an insanely catchy hook that was stuck in my head for weeks, and his rapping on it is actually decent compared to what it's been like recently. But the reason it's a guilty pleasure is, you know, like I said earlier, it's kind of the trend to hate on Logic, and it's also more so of a pop song and also features a pop singer in Haley Steinfeld. I like both of them, and I think they both did a great job, but it's just not really a song I'm gonna put on if I know there's gonna be hardcore rap fans around.
Logic.
In recent years, Eminem has kind of become this like bitter and corny rapper, and I think a lot of people have picked up on that. After Revival, his critical reception went way down, and that's just because the album sucked, but I did like Framed. I think the sample and the beat gives it this like creepy, kind of goofy feel, but also a grand feel at the same time. And I actually did enjoy the hook, although I can see why people definitely hate it. Overall, I think it's a song that people either like it or they hate it. So for that reason, and the fact that it comes from Revival, it's something I really only listen to when I'm alone.
Under the moonlight, she said she felt the mood right.
This is literally the only song by Lil Xan that's even remotely decent besides Betrayed, but that's only because of the beat. However, Moonlight is pretty similar to Betrayed in the sense that the beat carries a lot of the enjoyment in the song, but we do get a decent Charlie XCX feature, and Small Xan is at least tolerable on the track. I was actually introduced to this song in the 2K18 soundtrack, and I really started loving it. You get a great beat from 8 drums and a nice hook from Stephen A. Clark. And surprisingly for a Pitbull song, it actually has some substance and isn't entirely about partying in Miami. It meets most of the criteria I look for in a song, so it gets my stamp of approval. The lyrics of You Got Me is what makes it a guilty pleasure for me. Even for a G-Eazy song, they're extremely bland and boring, which says a lot. But the beat slaps. I also think G-Eazy's voice fits perfectly with the beat, so that adds to the enjoyment of it. Alright y'all, so that's gonna do it for 10 of my guilty pleasure rap songs. So if you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram and Twitter down in the description. And as always, it's been Isaiah the Player, and I'm gone.